Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum dear viewers. I am Professor Dr. Muhammad Usman, and in this video we will learn about various types of blood vessels. Here is an overview of various types of blood vessels and our circulatory system. And as you can see, our circulatory system consists of two things, that is the heart and these blood vessels. And it is grossly divided into two major portions, that is the systemic circulation. Okay, this is the systemic circulation, and this one is the pulmonary circulation or the circulation in the lungs. So this is a closed loop, as you can see, and we can start from anywhere. But if we start from this left ventricle, then the left ventricle, it pumps the blood into aorta, which is the largest artery, and from aorta blood goes to the large arteries. From large arteries blood goes to the small arteries, and from the arteries it goes to the arterioles and metarterioles, from where the capillaries are formed, and then capillaries join to form venules, and venules join to form veins. Okay, so veins drain the blood to the right atrium. From the right atrium blood goes to the right ventricle, and from the right ventricle through the pulmonary artery the blood goes to the lungs for exchange of gases, and from the lungs the oxygenated blood comes through this pulmonary vein into the left atrium, and from the left atrium the blood goes to the left ventricle from where we started. So let us see at any time how much blood is present in various portions of the circulation. So in the heart at any time about 7% blood is present, in the arteries about 13%, in the arterioles and capillaries about 7%. And what is your guess about venous system? Now in the venous system there is about 64% blood present at any time. So highest amount of blood is present in the veins, and in the pulmonary circulation about 9% blood is present. The total length of all the blood vessels in our body is about 97,000 kilometers, and they never get tangled. So, and which of the favors of your Lord you will deny? So various type of blood vessels present in our body are elastic vessels, resistance vessels, exchange vessels, capacitance vessels, and shunt vessels. Elastic vessels are basically large arteries. They are called so because they contain large amount of elastic tissue in their walls, and these are highly distensible. Okay, these are highly distensible. The function of elastic vessels or arteries is to maintain the blood flow throughout the systole and diastole. Now what happens that suppose this is left ventricle, this is left atrium, this is left ventricle, and this is aorta. So what happens that during systole the proximal or initial portions of the large arteries, for example this is initial portion of the aorta, so initial portions of the large arteries they distend like this, and some blood is lodged in these initial portions. Then during diastole what happens that when there is no active pumping from the heart, you know that during diastole the heart is relaxing and there is no active pumping from the heart. So what happens that during diastole the initial portions they undergo elastic recoil. Okay, they undergo elastic recoil, and the blood which is lodged or kind of stored in them, it moves forward. So in this way the blood flow also occurs to the tissues during diastole. So this is very beneficial, and in this way the blood flow is maintained to the tissues throughout the systole and diastole. Now the next vessels are resistance vessels, and as the name indicates they provide resistance to the blood flow. These are basically this portion of the circulation. Okay, it is also called microcirculation, and these include arterioles, metarterioles, precapillary sphincters, prevenules, and venules. Okay, I repeat: arterioles, metarterioles, precapillary sphincters, prevenules, and venules. Please note that capillaries are not included. So we can say that all of the microcirculation is kind of included in the resistance vessels except the capillaries. Now among all of these vessels the highest resistance is present in the arterioles. That is why the major drop of blood pressure, it occurs across the arterioles, as you can see in this graph. So, on the x axis we have various type of blood vessels, and on the y axis we have blood pressure. So, you can see that the largest drop in the blood pressure, it occurs across these arterioles. Now, arterioles are very important in two main aspects. They are very important in the regulation of blood pressure and blood flow. So, this is another figure of the these resistance vessels. Basically, when an artery, it branches 6 to 8 times, it forms an arteriole. The diameter of the arteriole is about 10 to 15 micron according to a Guyton, and it has a continuous smooth muscle. As you can see, it has a continuous smooth muscle coat. Then when an arteriole, it branches 2 to 5 times, then a met arteriole is formed. A met arteriole is formed, and its diameter is about 5 to 9 micron. Okay, the diameter of met arteriole is 5 to 9 micron, and it has an intermittent smooth muscle coat. Arteriole was having a continuous smooth muscle coat, but met arteriole has intermittent smooth muscle coat. Then from met arteriole, capillaries are formed, which are not included in the resistance vessels. Then capillaries, they join to form these pre-venules and venules, and these venules, they also have a smooth muscle coat, but it is weaker than the met arteriole and arterioles. Then the next vessels are exchange vessels, and as you know, these are our capillaries. They have a single layer. Okay, they have a single layer of endothelial cells. They are only one cell thick, and they have only these endothelial cells along with its basement membrane. Their diameter is about 4 to 9 micron. They are called exchange vessels because exchange of materials between blood and the tissue, it occurs across these capillaries. They have different type of pores at different sites. Capillaries have the highest cross sectional area of any vessels in the body. So, as you can see in this table, the cross sectional area of the capillaries is about 4500 centimeter square, which is greater than any of the other vessels in our body. Now, precapillary sphincter, it is a point where a true capillary, it originates from a met arteriole. Okay, precapillary sphincter, it is a point where a true capillary, it originates from a met arteriole, and a smooth muscle coat, it encircles the capillary, and this smooth muscle coat, it is called precapillary sphincter. It controls the blood flow into the capillary. Now, the blood flow in the capillary, it is called vasomotion, and this blood flow is intermittent type. Okay, so intermittent blood flow in the capillaries, it is called vasomotion, and it occurs due to intermittent contraction of the precapillary sphincter and met arteriole. The regulation of vasomotion, it occurs by oxygen concentration. When the oxygen concentration is low, the precapillary sphincter, it cannot maintain its contraction, so the blood flow occurs in the capillary. When oxygen tension is high, then precapillary sphincter, which is a smooth muscle coat, it contracts, and so the blood flow into the capillary, it stops. Then the next vessels are capacitance vessels, and these are our veins. They have large lumen. Okay, they have large lumen, and 2/3 of the total blood, it is present in the veins. So, they have a reservoir function. Okay, they have a reservoir function. Their wall contains small amount of smooth muscle and also some elastic tissue. The veins are very important in the regulation of venous return and in the regulation of cardiac output. Now, the last vessels are these shunt vessels. These are small vessels. They are present in the skin and some other tissues beneath the skin, and they have a temperature control function. Okay, they serve to control the body temperature. Now, thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to this channel. Stay blessed and Allah Hafiz.